from San Francisco.
Thank you. Yeah, always be branding. I brought my Tubi cards. Thank you to this team for hosting us at your beautiful offices. Tim this morning talked a lot about some of the initiatives that NFL is doing, and we are so lucky to have the people who are spearheading those initiatives here with us today. So can you guys each just go down the line, talk about what your role is in your remit at the NFL?
I'm Kyle Smith. I do a lot of our fashion vertical, managing what we do when it comes to fashion. So a lot of consumer products, player social, working with players going to Fashion Week. Any way that we can leverage fashion to expand our audience is my world.
Best dressed person here as well.
Thanks. Joe Lovallo, I'm a creative director here. I oversee a lot of the integrated campaigns from broadcast to digital and oversee our internal broadcast edit team in-house, as well as oversee our LCC team, which is our social media, videography, and photography that you'll see on social every weekend.
Hey everyone, I'm Sam Friedman. I'm the Senior Director of Content Partnerships. Work very closely with all of our emerging platforms and really focus on co-marketing plans to reach the next generation of fans. So on our gaming platforms, our season-long creator programs, just to name a few things.
Great. Alyse Brehm. I'm the Director of Global Brand and Consumer Marketing. So my focus area tends to be on our growth audience marketing initiatives. So that means a lot of participation, a lot of flag work, as well as what we do in some of our altcast space and working with some of our broadcast partners as well.
Amazing. Well, all of this contributing to expanding the NFL audience. I want to start with you, Kyle, because you're right next to me and as the best dressed person here. I think, we talked a lot about the athletes themselves as marketing mediums. And I think that the tunnel shots have become a massive thing. Fashion is now such an integral part of sports. Can you talk a little bit about how you're leveraging to creators to engage audiences? And athletes as creators, I guess.
Right, I think those are my creators. They create these beautiful fashion moments that we see every week through their tunnel fits. And it allows us to connect to new audiences. When I love when a player wears a shirt of their favorite band, or Anakin Skywalker. One time I made a player that wore an Anakin Skywalker t-shirt the best dressed of the week. I was like, now I know you. Now I get to understand more about you. And Tim spoke about our helmet off approach to marketing. And I get to see this player do what he does, what he loves to do, wearing something that is so meaningful to him. So I think that's a really fun way to connect to new audiences. You get the nerds and the geeks out there that love Star Wars. Now they come to the football side and see that, one of them is one of us as well. And so I think that's a really just impactful way to build our audiences. We go to Fashion Week. We go to the Met Gala. We do things that you wouldn't expect the NFL to be at. But we're becoming so synonymous with culture, it would be wrong not to be there.
I think we have a video too that speaks to a little bit of that association. Okay. Do you want to tee this up at all?
Let me just say, this is from my POV. This is, so a couple weeks before Fashion Week, Joe Burrow called me and I said, who? And he said, can you dress me for Fashion Week? And I said, I don't know anything about you, but let's do this. So I got him into Fashion Week. And this is just my POV of his brat summer.
Down 999 is a good time. Who the fuck are you? I'm a brat when I'm bumping that. No, I wanna hit my track. Are you bumping that? Till the windows crack, I'll be bumping that. No, I'll never go home, don't sleep, don't eat. Just do it on repeat, keep. When I'm in the club, yeah, I'm 365 party girl. Should we do a little key? Should we have a little line? Wanna go real wild when I'm meet me in the bathroom if you're 365 party girl. French manicure, whipper with a reservoir.
Wow.
Yeah, very quick, very fast, but that's how Fashion Week feels. It's boom, 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 and next thing you know, you're at the GQ party, and then you're at Vogue World, and we're doing really fun, cool things. But what I loved about this was Joe was doing things that he'd never done before. Walking in a fashion show with a backless suit. it was his first time out of the country. So we're like, how do we make this such a cool experience for you, for your friends that are traveling with you? And then I had our comms team look into all of the press that were talking about this. And it generated about $22 million of calculated ad value. People that are talking about what he's doing, talking about the NFL, showing up internationally, that we didn't pay for. We just did something really cool.
And unsurprisingly, right? I mean, I think that is part of the NFL marketing playbook. And aside from like being at a fashion show, I think for Sam and Alyse, I mean, you guys have worked on some incredible partnerships that nobody kind of expected. We talked about Nickelodeon last year. Can you talk a little bit about how you are kind of, it's surprise and delight or showing up unexpectedly to engage fans?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. I think, Tim spoke about it earlier, but we take a lot of pride in showing up unexpectedly and letting our partners really take these ideas and run. So last year, hopefully you saw our partnership with Nickelodeon just continued to get bigger and messier and slimier when we took the alt cast to Super Bowl. And this is an opportunity just to, have fun with it, but I think importantly, from a strategic standpoint, it allows these opportunities for co-viewing opportunities so that you're bringing kids together, you're bringing in the parents, and you're also having fun with how you're presenting the game, but importantly, using it to really educate on the game too. So you have Dora explaining what the rules look like or what the calls are, and I think continuing to build out those moments with family to watch the game and generate that consumption as well is just, we're continuing to lean into it and have some fun ideas up our sleeves.
Yeah, I'll just build off of that. So I was able to partner really closely with Alyse, and we were able to extend that campaign to Roblox, which we really see as the next generation of a social platform, and we know that's where kids are spending their time. There's 70 million daily active users on that platform. So we took all the IP and the amazing campaign for Tune In that Alyse and Sarah and team were doing, and we brought that to Roblox. So we really saw that as a place to drive that education. So we launched a trivia and a cross-game quest, which is very native to that platform, where users were going into the SpongeBob experience, our game on Roblox, answering trivia questions, being able to redeem limited time items that you can only get through our games. And then all of this time, we're synonymously driving tune-in and awareness for the Super Bowl altcast. So really thinking of new and emerging platforms as an extension of the amazing work that we're doing to reach kids and parents and co-viewing. And we did that both with our Nick Miss game and then with Super Bowl. So really connecting that and seeing these newer and emerging social platforms as a place to really extend the NFL audience and ecosystem. We're really running out of real estate in real life of where we can put the NFL. So finding these new touch points and really meeting that next generation where they spend their time.
Yeah, and I think be it, fashion shows, programming kids for games, bringing people into the sport in really unique ways and bringing people into not just, the regular NFL season, but also flag. So, Joe, I don't know if you could talk a little bit about, some of the emphasis that you guys are doing around flag football.
Yeah, for sure. I think, No? Yeah, there we go. I think Tim said earlier, one of the best ways to encourage fandom is participation. So it's been a big emphasis for us to get kids to play flag football, and Alyse has done a ton of great work on that arena, as she already spoke to. But, we have a campaign this year where, I think it's been said today too, it's like we wanted to be authentic. And, if you see a sports movie or commercial and it's not real athletes in it, you can kind of tell. But we were fortunate enough in this year's campaign to have a lot of the kids that were participating in the U.S. championships last month, and they were in the championship game. And I think it was one of the things that made this campaign a lot of fun to work on and to be successful. And we're talking about tapping into new audiences and leveraging influencers. So one of the other things in that spot that really kind of showed forward was. We had an influencer, we have a streamer, I Show Speed, We're leveraging his audiences. We're using his audience because he's got over 60 million followers across all platforms, averages over 100K per stream. And we want him, his placement in the spot to be authentic, so he's streaming in that spot. And then also to tap into the helmets off approach, we have CeeDee Lamb, we have Justin Herbert, and those guys on set having a ton of fun with the kids. It felt real. They're involved. They're great stewards and ambassadors for the game, and we just want it to feel fun. So get kids that are watching this, thinking about playing, sign up and play themselves and become fans and involved with the game.
Well, I think we have the spot too. Check it out.
Yo, she got her! That's crazy! Oh, you guys seen this?
If I'm playing to win. Stay solid, don't break the win. On my way to the cash, I'm big. Do it again. We gon' do
Show
it
what you got.
again. We gon' do it
This game!
Love that. I feel like across all the work that all of your teams do, god damn, the NFL is like always ahead of the curve. Like always 5 steps ahead. How do you guys keep up with cultural currents, jump on some of these trends, know that this is the influencer that's going to work for that? Would love to hear from all of you.
Yeah, I can jump in here to start. So one of the things that we do, the creator and influencer space, Tim talked about this, that's really our sweet spot to reach those new audiences and connect in what we know are lifestyle verticals that our fans are also passionate about. So when you think of food, fitness, gaming, fashion, that we can really work with creators in those spaces and connect and find a new touch point to bring in a new casual fan. So in our creator strategy, I'd say we have a really remarkable team, a lot are in this room, that have their finger on the pulse, that are scrolling on all these platforms and know who's next up and have amazing relationships. And then something that we've done starting last year that we're expanding with some of our platform partners that we've historically had relationships more in the programming space on all of our social channels is we now have season-long programs with different platforms. So we launched our YouTube creator program last year. And what was really revolutionary about that program is for the first time we license NFL footage and IP to creators to co-create with us. And we know how valuable NFL IP is to them. It's something a lot of creators have been asking for. And now we're able to share to fashion creators, our LCCs that Joe leads, some of those tunnel fits and some of what Kyle's working on. And now some of these creators can now use that footage and IP legally to then create content on their own channels, and they can monetize against that. So we're seeing that our NFL content and IP can now also be helping creators both grow their audience, make money on these platforms, and really think of creators as that next outlet of really where to discover the game through those lifestyle verticals. And then the other side of this program with YouTube, we have a Creator of the Week program where we invite a creator out every single week in partnerships with the clubs, and they're getting behind the scenes access, going to the practice facility early. They're seeing the new Chargers facility in the Bolt that we're going to do in a couple weeks, which we're really excited about. And they're able then to share their game day experience to their audience. And this is completely in partnership with all the clubs. And then for a platform like YouTube, it really helps to fuel short form content, which they're trying to compete against the likes of TikTok. So there's also really big business implications and goals behind these partnerships, which really help us also through these partners find that next generation up and coming creator, kind of taking it back to your question in the beginning, and then really see how we can expand these programs with some of our other partners who mutually have their finger on the pulse, we're sharing different ideas, different creators that we see. So look out for all that this season, and we have new programs launching with partners in the next couple weeks.
How do you guys think about that on an international level too? I mean, those are international platforms, obviously, and you guys have a very concerted effort to expand fandom internationally. Can you talk about some of the initiatives that you're doing there?
Joe's heading to Brazil, so let him take it.
I think we're all very excited to see, reach beyond borders. The game reach beyond borders overseas. We've kind of established a foothold in Europe, and for the first time, we're going to play a game in South America next week. So, I think that's one of the good things about flag football. It's accessible, it's inclusive, and that the fact that we're getting to see this, it's eventually going to be in the Olympics in 4 years. We have a 4-year runway for that. But, growing the game globally, like establishing fandom, it's participation with the flag football, but it's also trying to encourage the fandom by having the game, pushing these games overseas. When you get overseas, I'm looking forward to being in Sao Paulo next week. But I've heard that it's a Super Bowl. It's an event. There's a foothold. You see fans show up in all kinds of different jerseys. There's activations. They're encouraging participations, and those are the kind of core memories that we heard about earlier. When you're hoping to catch these kids, and make those core memories at a young age, and just kind of encourage and grow the fandom there.
How are you all thinking across all your remits, with the emphasis on growing the NFL audience? Everything is measured differently by channel, but what are some of the things that have really hit and that you see? You talked a little bit about that, just the virality of some of the initiatives that you did. What else are you looking at from a KPI perspective?
I think one of the bigger ones recently was my 60-year-old neighbor said, "Those guys have a lot of drip." I was like, I've never heard you ever say anything like this to me before in my life. So it's that. I think somebody earlier spoke about those quantitative versus qualitative. And I think that's a huge one, is we're impacting culture that way. And when I see, like, Joe Burrow, not Joe, texted me the other day, like, should I buzz and dye my hair? And I was like, I guess, sure. And then he did it. And then I saw so many Instagram posts that were like, I stand in solidarity with Joe. And it's like them also shaving their hair and dyeing it. I'm like, oh, so like that's impactful to me. Like letting our fans respond to all this work that we're doing, this effort to show what our players wear in the tunnel, to what our fans are wearing. We do a lot of really cool collaborations with streetwear designers to talk to Gen Z more, to a fashion audience more. Working with really cool female designers or people that design clothes for women that are actually cool and not just glitter and pink and have a team logo on it. So I think it's these things that we're seeing in real life that I love to, that this is how we're being successful.
The numbers are the numbers, but the empathy that you see with people and the real connection is what makes us work.
Yeah, just to add, Sam was talking about this morning. I think what's really exciting, and to be in media and marketing and the intersection of all that, is really just the opportunity that we have, and as we're seeing, of changing how people are consuming sports media and all of the different platforms that we're going to with the streaming partners. And then what's the iteration of that? And one example that I'm really excited about that we're testing in Brazil is, for the first time, we're working with a creator to give them the rights to stream the game localized to Brazil as a test. They're called Case TV. They have about 16 million in Brazil, and they have had the rights to Copa and to the Olympics. And that, knowing we have a very strong media and broadcast audience, but to reach that next generation through the voices that they want to hear and creators and expose them to the game in a totally different style is really where I see where we can go next, and seeing how we can expand that. So this will be one test that we're doing in Brazil. And when we used to think of back in the day, like, oh, it was just the linear TV numbers and that was really driving success. Now adding up all the different ways that you're consuming NFL content, how we're really measuring what is successful, knowing that younger generations aren't sitting down and necessarily watching a full game, but they might be exposed to the NFL through the Case TV stream, for instance, or different creator content, or the fashion side of it. So as we really start to think about how we measure success overall, that as marketers, that really leads into our overall brand relevance and culture relevance, and that really being some of our guiding lights and KPIs as we go internationally and are really trying to be that brand globally and not just known as American football to a lot of people when you do leave the U.S.
Sure. I think I'd be remiss too to not add the participation component of all of this too. I think we've spoken a lot about flag, but the why of it really is, at the end of the day, kids that are play football are twice as likely to become avid NFL fans. So it's also having what flag represents is this opportunity. It's a lower barrier to entry. It's an inclusive form of the sport. And the sky's the limit with what it means for women and girls in the sport as well. And you heard Tim talk about it. We are riled up about it. You saw it in our spot. These athletes are phenomenal, but it also allows all of this brand new opportunity, especially for women and girls, to participate in the sport. That's domestically, and then abroad, as we're looking to build that out. We have NFL flag programs in over 12 countries. We're continuing to build that out and build that path so that people can touch and feel the game and relate to the game, and that just continues to drive that fandom. So I think, and then to put a bow on it, our fan perception is at an all-time high. So much of this is driven by our growth audiences, increases in youth, increases in women and girls, and some of those key demos. So I think it's a compilation of all of these things that are moving the marks to really, help. Boats raise all ships. You know the expression. We're doing that across all these. Yeah, we're going up, guys, and that's great.
Speaking of going up too, I think LA 28 is a massive international opportunity. Talk a little bit about what the NFL is doing looking towards that. You guys have already released some stuff which we can look at, but
yeah. So also we like to not be too chest poundy as they finish and say, yeah, we're going up. But I think, we're so excited about what LA 28 means for the sport of flag football. This is an opportunity to play football at an elite level, international level that we haven't seen before. So it's unprecedented the way in which what this means for the opportunity for the sport. And importantly, what it means for the pathways and for the participants currently in the sport. So we're thrilled, but we also know we have to get people excited and aware. And while we live and breathe flag every single day, we're still combating perceptions that, this isn't just a sport for your kids before they play tackle. These athletes are phenomenal. They're kick-ass. You saw what Joe shared in the creative. So we're also needing to get that excitement now so that by the time 2028 rolls around, we have a primed fan base. They're bought in, they're invested, they know the athletes. And they're really ready to rally behind the sport. But Joe, do you want to anything to add?
Yeah, I think to tee that up, we know it's a 4-year runway. There's a lot of work to be done. To your point, we came out with a really exciting campaign during the Olympics. It was, when we learned about flag football's inclusion during the season last year, we had an idea that was something big. We had 10 days to turn it around, and it kind of started with the thought of, we're lucky we're in LA. This city has personality, and it also has an Olympic history. So, it dates back to 84 and 32, and we already have an arena built with a cauldron. So while we were able to turn around an announcement video with some athletes in it within 10 days, there was a thought of let's light the torch. The torch is there, let's pass the torch. So we wanted to kind of come in and play in an arena that it's not typical for the NFL to be in something on a global scale where it's not the biggest brand. The Olympics is such a huge circus to throw our hat in, a 5-ring circus to throw our hat into. So we're excited to kind of make an announcement and to put something in market that kind of sounded a beacon and get people excited. There's still a lot of work to be done over the next 4 years to talk about the who, what, when, and where. But we wanted to have an announcement that, luckily we have Jalen Hurts in it, a global flag ambassador, all-woman management team. He has the right persona for just a spot of this nature. And to Alyse's team's credit, they kept pushing this over the next few months that made it kind of come to reality, a huge team effort to make it happen and to pull it off. But we were excited to be able to kind of raise our ship, if you will, in the Olympic arena and air the spot, and happy with how it came out.
yeah, let's check it out.
It's our turn.
In 10 days? Wow.
no, sorry, the initial announcement video. We got briefed in it was October, I think, of last year. This is going to get announced that flag football is coming to the Olympics. We're all very excited. This was an idea that got kicked around that we couldn't do in 10 days. We did an announcement video with some players that were in it, but there was such an appetite for something of this nature. We thought maybe we can make a cool impact and take advantage of that audience we had in Paris just a couple of weeks ago. So luckily, we had a couple months more than a few months to.
It's like the production
around.
would be really good for. Well, I have one more question, and I want to open it up because this is an incredible group that we should tap into and ask questions for. But what are you most excited about for this upcoming season that's kicking off in June?
This season, I'm really excited to see how just fashion plays such a larger role. We have so many cool collaborations coming up with our licensees. We have, obviously, tunnel fits, or I think a couple years ago. So I used to style like Justin Bieber, for example. And at that time, so many brands were sending him things. He didn't know what to do with it. It was all this gifting. And I just ended up wearing like his Converse. So, and then I always like that at that time, no brands were leaning into sports that way. No brands were gifting athletes their newest collections. Now every brand is sending me things to give to players. And so fashion is really leaning into athletes to do this really cool, like authentic storytelling with them and leveraging players as their new spokespeople and celebrities. So I'm so excited to see how fashion plays out in the tunnel. To me, it's a runway show every week. It's 18 weeks of just like fashion show, fashion show, fashion show every Sunday, and players expressing themselves. And they now know that there are eyes on the tunnel, and it's this great opportunity for players to say, this is who I am. I come wearing a suit because this is serious to me. I'm wearing a tracksuit because I just dropped off my kids at daycare. Like every player has this cool life that they express through style now, and I'm so excited to see what happens this season.
For me, I would say, every season is its own story, and I love that every season comes with, if you're a fan of a specific team, you're waiting for that storyline to unfold. And to be able to kind of react to that and use that and to see, there's just, regardless if you root for a team or not, we all have this optimism of what we think, what we want to happen, what we, think might happen, and to be able to react to that. I mean, and then in the immediate future, like next week, we have, for the first time ever, 4 days of kickoff. We're putting our stamp on Friday. There's a game in Sao Paulo. So I'm just excited for the optimism and to see where, some of these players, end up, how the rookies play, and just being able to kind of leverage the opportunities that get put in front of us and react to them.
Yeah, I agree with the optimism. I would say from a fan, this is probably the best week out of the year because you think that your team is going to win the Super Bowl, and this is the week, so you get very excited. But then I'd say from also being fortunate to work in the sport, just continuing to see how far we're pushing things and really how big this game is growing. And mention creators a lot, but we really do not have a larger plan for creators this year. We're seeing all of our partners lean in with creators, so that's been really exciting to build and expand that and to tell even more amazing stories of our players and through a new fan's perspective. So really excited for those programs and also for them to continue to go globally. We have an amazing creator plan down in Brazil, so yeah, really excited to see that all come to life, and we can all be optimistic for one more week.
We made it clear Taylor Swift isn't the only reason why we've seen a growth in audience. Having said that, I'm really excited. We do have this amazing opportunity where we have the attention of women and girls who may have been, at best, casual fans. I'm really excited we have their attention. Let's bring them into the sport. Let's get them excited. Let's continue to make sure that they feel part of this community and that they feel seen and heard and wanting to continue to invest in that game. And I think there's so much already in place, but I'm just really excited to have that opportunity right now.
Well, thank you. Thank you guys so much for sharing all your perspectives. I think we are at time, but maybe one question or any questions from the audience?
Anybody? Don't make me be the only one to have a question. Oh, here we go, Charles.
So because you ended on the Taylor Swift thing, I'll pick it up there. Obviously, Taylor is spending her time with Travis, who is a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. But it is getting the attention of a lot of women and young girls for the first time, or as you said, maybe they're casual fans. How are you seeing that, or what is the strategy in taking that attention in different markets and pointing it towards a variety of teams versus just everybody becoming Kansas City Chiefs fans because that's who Taylor's man plays for?
You know, I think there's been a lot of conversation about this. First off, if they all become Kansas City Chiefs fans, great. Like, I think if you're just a fan of the sport, we're all winning there. Having said that, too, we are trying to make sure that we are ready to go as, you know, we know ultimately the behavior. If you're interested in a storyline that hopefully we can be, at the end of the day, we'd love for you to be sitting and watching a game. But through the work that Sam's doing, through the work that Kyle's doing, we're at least getting you interested and saying on Sunday, oh, I'm actually somewhat engaged with what's happening on this storyline. I think hopefully if you become a fan of a player, then that leads you to becoming a fan of a team. And if you're a fan of the team, then you're watching those games regularly. I think it's all part of this deepening engagement and deepening avidity that we're really trying to lean into. And if that's a competitive advantage for the Chiefs, then great for them. But I think for us, it's a win that there's just continued admiration for the game.
We got one more up here.
I got one more question. To add on to what he just said, with regards to women and young girls becoming fans, but also becoming players. I don't know if you could touch on it, but what is their plan to be able to have young women's leagues under the NFL umbrella that you can market in the future? So not only will they become fans, they will be inspired to actually play the game and obviously give them opportunities for salary, branding opportunities, marketing opportunities, and sponsorships themselves.
I'll start. We absolutely have lofty aspirations especially for flag, knowing that there's just such a great pathway that we're continuing to build out. So we have over 3 million NFL flag players. That does include both boys and girls that are currently playing the game. But we're also, flag football is sanctioned in 12 states for high school girls flag football. And then we're continuing to chip away at what that pathway looks like for collegiate so that there could be scholarship opportunities and continuing to validate that. And North Star, then you make it to the Olympics. I think this is all part of those visions. Man, what if there were professional sports leagues related to flag or opportunities there? I think there's so much opportunity, and it starts with today as we're working on those youth leagues in the high school and the collegiate, but continuing to know that there's such a love and a passion and that we want to do right by our athletes too, to give them those opportunities.
All right. Well, thank you guys again so much. This was a great conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Alyse, Samantha, Joe, Kyle.